Welcome to Business Spotlight, where we share insights, reflections, advice, and pearls of wisdom from local business owners. My name is Ceri James. I'm a business coach and facilitator. And today in the Business Spotlight hot seat, we have MD of JEC Professional Services, John Eary. Good morning and great to have you here, John.
Good to be here. Thank you.
So JEC Professional Services, if we could start with a little bit of history, how long have you been involved in the business, please, John, and what do you specialize in?
Okay, so I set up the business in December 2010. It's been going 12 years plus now. Two main areas that we specialize in. One is new ways of working. So that has been particularly topical of late, but we were back in flexible working and smart working, obviously hybrid working these days. And there are other areas such as agile working. So advise clients on how to adopt new working methods to the benefit of the business and to the employees as well. The other area is in business continuity. So essentially how organizations can prepare for major, potentially catastrophic events and recover from those. And again, that's proved quite topical with COVID. So both those areas are quite current to people's issues, and it's something that we've been doing for the last 12 years or so now.
Okay, so how did the whole lockdown and more recent economic turmoil, I'm guessing that had a fairly major impact on your business and the industry in general. Tell us a bit more about that, please, John.
Yeah, it's been quite an interesting experience, and there have been pluses and minuses, really. I think we were finding a fair bit of interest in new ways of working, but obviously when lockdown hit, people did have to adapt their ways of working. So the experience that we had obviously was useful to organizations to draw on, and we provided consultancy and training to equip people in those new ways of working. I think where we are now is that people have adopted a form of hybrid working. My own view is that that isn't yet complete. A lot of people focus on where people are working. There's been changes in when people work now, so people will start early off or finish later or have breaks in the day. Not all schemes sort of picked up on that. And then the third dimension, in addition to location and time, is how people work and an element of autonomy for organizations and for employees of organizations. So that's, I think, is the area that still has some mileage left in it to really get on top of that. In terms of this, sorry.
No, I was just going to ask a follow-up question there, really, John, in terms of your ideal client. Is that determined by size or culture or structure, or what might be the key determinants of a great client from your perspective?
Right. I think we take a very open view. So we've done work in all three sectors: private, public, and not-for-profit. One of the advantages and one of the pluses of this lockdown period is that I think clients or potential clients are happy to engage virtually. So the fact that we're based in the Northwest isn't a limitation. So instead of getting the red-eye train down to London, as we might have done a few years ago, we can have a team Zoom meeting at the convenience not only of ourselves, but more importantly of our clients. So that has provided an opportunity, and I think people are more open to these different ways of working. And I think clients actually prefer quite often virtual consultations rather than setting up formal meetings. And sometimes people want to see you face to face, but as we're meeting now, it's quite satisfactory for most organizations.
Okay, and do you engage with the kind of broader team, or is this more about leadership education, would you say?
I think in terms of the new ways of working, quite often it is an interest from HR side, because they often have the responsibility of introducing new ways of working, but we don't restrict ourselves to HR. Quite often we find ourselves almost as a bridge between, for example, HR and IT, who typically don't often interact that much, because I've got a bit of a technology background and I'm also interested in the people side. I say I can form that bridge, and I've got associates who specialize in those areas, so we can bring that together. And I think that's another opportunity that is available to us to bring the people and the technology aspects together to make it a more effective combination in an organization.
Okay, so JEC Professional Services, you say you started in 2010. So what sort of size and shape are you now then, John? And what are the main challenges that you've currently got, would you say?
Okay, so I took a decision early on that I wouldn't employ people, I would use trusted associates. That has an advantage for me, but I think it also has an advantage to our clients as well, because for any particular assignments, I can pull together a relevant team with the expertise that is required. Whereas if I was a bigger consultancy, I would have to find work for those people each month, and and it could result in people not being the optimal choice, just because of they had availability. And I've worked in larger consultancies and know how that works. So yeah, we have grown over that time. We're not looking to be particularly aggressive in our growth. We'd rather have a good relationship with our clients and find out new opportunities. And being able to punch above our weight, and we have been able to win opportunities which larger consultancies have bid for. Mm-hmm. But that associate model is quite a useful model, we find.
Okay. And what about the main challenges, would you say, linked to that model?
I think the challenges obviously need to have a good relationship with those associates, because they will have other clients and other priorities. So it's a case of building up the trust. And quite often the associates are known to me previously, but I have also brought on board new associates, and again, just understanding what they're looking for, what their skill set is, and then explain to them what I'm looking for and how we could work together. On the whole, I think that has worked quite well. So obviously for new associates, I'm not sure it's a challenge, but it takes a little while to establish that relationship. But I think we tend to get there.
Okay. What about the future then? What are the aspirations have you got for JEC?
Right. I think to some extent it's more of the same. One of the attractions for me in terms of my personal satisfaction is finding new clients and new challenges. So over the years, we have served quite a few clients in different areas. So major charities, marketing companies, where we've run on the business continuity side, for example, we've run exercises with people sat in an office in Belgium or Finland and managed to do that from the UK. So that sort of thing is quite interesting. And I think certainly those organizations that do have international subsidiaries, we've shown that we can service that sort of client. And we'd look to do that again, and just broaden our offer and bring in more associates to give a wider range of skills to offer the clients.
Okay. And if you look back over those 12 or 13 years then, John, what would you say the key lessons that you've learned as a business owner. So if you were starting on day one again back in 2010, knowing now what you now know, having those 12 years of experience, what would be the main piece of advice do you think you'd give yourself?
Right. I think getting the marketing right would be the key one. I think in the early years, I did learn quite a bit. I mean, I don't think I fully subscribe to it. Some people think, okay, well, if I get recommendations that grow the business, and I mean, obviously recommendations are important, and then I include those in my website, but you can't sit there waiting for the phone to ring, as it were, or the email to come through. So getting marketing right. So what is interesting in the new ways of working space, the organic marketing works quite well, sort of SEO. I post articles quite regularly. But on the business continuity side, which is in some ways more competitive, I've found that paid for advertising is a route. So Google Ads, Microsoft Ads, and again, learning how to use those, because a lot of agencies that can advise you are more experienced in the consumer market and the business to business market. So again, learning about that. So and obviously the website, I think, is a useful reference. So I probably didn't realize the importance of those things when I started. I do now, and that's probably been my biggest lesson.
Okay. And anything else would you say that comes to mind apart from keeping up to date and learning about which marketing strategies work for you? What else would be key lessons, do you think?
Yeah, I think generally keeping an eye on the quality in the relationship with clients. Excuse me. There's often a difference in perception in terms of, as a consultant, you might know your stuff. You might think you're handing out tablets of stone. I don't think I'm guilty of that. But from a client's point of view, they have a different perception. They may need to sell what you're saying within their own organization. So I think the important thing is to try and get an understanding of what the client really wants and what their circumstances are. So if we're talking to someone in HR, they may need to convince their FD or senior management, and finding out from them how we can help them. And similarly, if I write a proposal, I'll always offer the opportunity to rewrite it if they feel that it isn't angled in a way that will be helpful to them. So it's trying to get that client mindset on board rather than just talk about the topics and the expertise you may already have.
Okay. And finally, then, John, if anybody is exploring the challenges of hybrid working or any of the other aspects you've covered today, do you have any announcements or offers that you'd like to make Business Spotlight viewers?
Yeah, I'm generally very, very happy to talk to people without obligation. So, we can offer a free consultation, just to understand what it is they're looking to do, with no obligation. And at the very least, that's of interest to me because I find out a bit more about another organization. But obviously, if there are things that we can help people with, we can discuss that, take that further.
Very good. Well, we'll definitely include links to your site on the narrative associated with this video then, John, but it's been fascinating to learn more, and all the very best with JEC Professional Services.
Thanks so much, Kerry. Thank you.